Howdy, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and assume everybody can hear me. My throat is scratchy. I'm sweating. So bear with me here, guys. I'll go ahead and talk for a couple of minutes just so I've reached out because I didn't put out a video in a whole week and it feels strange. I'm used to it at this point, but my my voice just doesn't sound the way that I would like it to if I was going to be producing content. I'm hopeful that in the next day or so I'm going to clear up and it'll sound better. And I have some interesting videos that I do intend to share. One is going to be the sickest that I ever was in prison, which seems apropos, frankly. And in the meantime, I really am going to go back to producing content. And thank you so much for everybody that's bearing with me and anybody that went back and watched a video in the meantime or reached out in whatever manner they could. I had one or two people touch base and make sure I was okay. And I just appreciate it really a lot. I'll keep telling my story. Shalisty girl, I'm not actually sure what I'm sick with. I have a COVID test pending, so we'll see how it goes. But you want my best guess is my family and I were pretty sick with the virus, and we'll see. But that's my best guess. I'm not a medical professional, and we do still have a test pending. I don't have my results yet. I should get them tomorrow or perhaps the next day. Hey, what's up? Are you there, God? It's me, Dave. I always think of the two movies there, the book and the movie, the Beverly Clearly, Are You There, God? And also Dave Dies at the End. John dies at the end with his friend Dave. Those are two of my favorite books, one from whenever I was very young, of course, and one from more recently. And whenever you combine them together, you get Are You There, God? It's me, Dave, which is entertaining to me. I doubt anybody else cares much. John dies in the end. Dave dies in the end of my life too. Clever and quick. Right on, Are You There, God? It's me, Dave. I always tell people you don't necessarily have to be all that clever. What you got to be is quick. You got to have the joke as soon as somebody sets you up. That's what's funny. If you have to wait 2 minutes to say something, well, it probably wasn't that funny in the first place. I was thinking today about an entertaining thing that happened to me whenever I was at Chowchilla, the last prison that I did time at. Occasionally, a tour will come through. And this happens on the main line, on any yard. Maybe there's some guys from Sacramento, some politicians who want to see a prison. Maybe it's just some random officer who's coming from another place, and so they're doing an orientation thing with some new guys that are coming in. But occasionally you have tours come through, and they'll announce, all right, guys, everybody on their best behavior, go ahead and clean up this little area a little bit, and nobody screw up, or we're going to make an example of you because we have a tour coming through. There was one occasion where they announced that there was a tour coming through. And one thing that inmates learn, and I talked about this before, is eyes forward. And it's impolite to leer at a woman or a man or anybody really in any environment. But in prison, where you have this low social status and they can hurt you if they want to, it's not just impolite, it's stupid and possibly suicidal. There was one occasion, and it was funny because I have never seen 20 inmates stand at attention more carefully and keep their eyes perfectly forward than one day whenever we knew that there was a tour coming through. And I happened to be coming back from medical, so I walked past the tour and got to see what it was. Usually it would be a group of officers, perhaps, training, as I said, or politicians. On this specific instance, it was a group of teenage girls. I'm going to say a dozen of them, maybe 15, of course, escorted by a half dozen officers and a guy in suits and some guys in suits. I don't actually know if it was a Scared Straight program or if it was perhaps a take your daughter to work day, as crazy as that idea is in a prison. But I can tell you there was a tour of a dozen young girls and then some officers keeping them safe, of course. I got to see the moment whenever the 20 inmates who were milling around an area and were wondering what the tour was going to be realized that it was possibly the daughters of some of the staff that they worked with or something like that. Everybody shut shot forward and stood straight, and nobody blinked or looked or anything, as is appropriate, of course, but it was entertaining to see every person in this small little clump of inmates that had been waiting to process through and knew they had to wait for the tour to pass, to realize that they could really offend the wrong person if they did that thing, that leering thing that nobody should do, and especially not in a prison. And my God, especially not at potentially the daughter of the guy who locks you in your cell at night. Convict's Perspective. Hey, what's up? You guys are a great channel. I enjoy watching a Convict's Perspective, and anybody who happens to oh gosh, man, this virus really, it just settles in your lungs and makes it so you can't clear. And I know my voice is terrible. Thank you guys for bearing with me here. The timing was just absurd. I'm not going to go into any details about my employer or my job, because I suspect they would rather I didn't. But I was literally starting a new job and had finished training, and on the very first day I was scheduled, I had to call in and go, hey guys, I cannot safely leave my home. I'm going to start infecting people. I'm putting up a video because I'm real glad to be able to touch base with anybody who is able to watch and who was wondering why I haven't posted a video in about a week. I said I was shooting for 15 minutes. Guys, we're 6.5 in, and it's getting really hot in this room. So I want to thank everybody for watching. And look, my next video and the one after that won't just be me saying I'm sick and thanking people. I'll try and put out some content that's interesting, not just me sitting in front of a camera. Everybody have a great evening, and thank you one final time. Thank you for listening. And stream.